Have you ever sat in silence and felt a kind of pain that doesn't even have a name? You smile in public, but the truth is, you're grieving something no one sees. The heartbreak, the abandonment, the betrayal, it didn't just break your heart. It broke your rhythm, your confidence, your identity. And if you're honest, you're tired of hearing just move on, or time will heal it, because it hasn't. So the real question is this: what actually heals heartbreak? If you stay with me until the end, you're going to walk away with something more powerful than comfort. You'll walk away with clarity, strategy, and healing that lasts. Heartbreak is not just emotional, it's spiritual. When someone we love leaves, betrays, or disappoints us, the wound they leave behind doesn't just affect our feelings, it reaches into the core of who we are. It's more than missing a person. It's feeling like you've lost a part of yourself. That's because relationships, especially deep ones, don't just touch our hearts. They shape our sense of identity. When you're in love, you begin to see yourself through the lens of that connection. You adapt, you adjust, you build your world around that bond. And when it breaks, you don't just lose them. You lose the version of you that was connected to them. You begin to question yourself. Was I not enough? What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I worth staying for? These questions don't come from just a place of emotion, they come from a place of identity crisis. Because when we tie our worth to how someone else treats us, their rejection feels like a statement about our value. It's why heartbreak can feel more painful than even physical loss, because it fractures your perception of who you are. But the truth is this: no human relationship should ever have that much power over your sense of self. You were never meant to derive your identity from another person. You were created whole before they ever entered your life. Their presence may have added joy, but their departure does not reduce your worth. That's the lie heartbreak tries to convince you of. That you are less now than you were before. That because someone changed their mind, your value has changed. But that's not reality. That's emotional deception. And if you don't confront it, it will follow you into every future connection you attempt. This is why real healing doesn't begin with time. It begins with truth. You must come to terms with who you are, independent of who left. Your identity cannot be anchored to something as fragile and unpredictable as human emotion. When it is, you will continue to live on a roller coaster of worth. High when loved, low when left. Heartbreak is a revealer. It reveals where you've placed your identity. And the deeper the pain, the more deeply you had tied your worth to that person. This doesn't mean you were wrong for loving deeply. It means now you have an opportunity to rediscover who you are when no one is validating you. Healing starts when you stop waiting for someone else to give you closure and begin reclaiming your identity from the rubble of the relationship. You are not what you lost. You are not the mistake they made. You are not the version of yourself that was shaped by their presence or absence. The pain is real, but so is your worth. And it existed before the heartbreak. It still exists now. We've all heard the saying, time heals all wounds. It's repeated so often that it sounds like truth. But if you've ever had your heart truly broken, you know that time alone doesn't heal. It only passes. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. And while the world moves on, you can still be stuck in the same emotional place, quietly carrying pain that no one sees. Time may dull the edge, but it doesn't remove the blade. It might bury the ache beneath routines and distractions, but underneath, the wound remains, unaddressed, unresolved, and waiting to resurface. Real healing doesn't happen because days go by. Healing only happens when you stop avoiding the pain and start understanding it. Time, by itself, doesn't bring clarity. Revelation does. You must confront the reason the heartbreak hit you so deeply. What belief did it shake? What identity did it crush? What fear did it awaken? If those questions remain unanswered, time will not make them disappear. It will simply mask them behind busyness and silence, and those wounds will quietly shape how you see yourself, how you trust, and how you love again, often without you even realizing it. That's why people can appear healed on the surface, while still carrying the same insecurities, fears, and emotional triggers from years ago. They've aged, but they haven't grown. They've moved forward in life, but not inward in healing. And then, when they enter new relationships or face new disappointments, everything they buried comes rushing back with even more intensity. This is the danger of relying on time alone. It deceives you into thinking you've moved on, when in reality you've only postponed the confrontation. Healing requires intentionality. It means choosing to examine your pain instead of escaping it. It means asking hard questions, allowing yourself to grieve properly, and being honest about what broke. Not just the relationship, but your expectations, your self-permission, your faith in people. Only when you face the truth can you be set free from the emotional prison heartbreak creates. People often say, give it time, because they don't know what else to say. But what your heart truly needs is not time. It's truth. Truth about your value. Truth about your identity. Truth about your purpose beyond the person you lost. Time is only effective when truth is present. When you walk in understanding, time becomes a partner in your healing journey. But without understanding, time becomes a blanket, soft enough to comfort, but not strong enough to cure. So don't wait for the clock to fix what only clarity can. Don't expect tomorrow to do what today refuses to confront. Healing isn't about escaping pain. It's about walking through it with purpose. And that purpose can only be revealed when you stop waiting for time to fix you and start searching for the truth that can restore you. Healing after heartbreak isn't just about getting over a person. It's about restoring your original design. Before the relationship, before the pain, you had a purpose. You had value, vision, and identity that weren't dependent on who loved you or who left you. But heartbreak has a way of clouding that memory. It makes you forget who you were before the relationship. It tricks you into thinking you were only whole because of that connection. But the truth is, you were already complete before they arrived. Healing is the journey of returning to that truth. So many people believe they need to become someone new to heal. But real healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about rediscovering who you were before the wound. Heartbreak may have introduced brokenness, but it didn't erase your design. What's broken can be rebuilt. What's wounded can be restored. But not by pretending, distracting, or running. Healing begins the moment you decide to turn inward and ask, who was I before this pain? And what part of me did I lose trying to keep someone who was never meant to stay? When you understand that your design, your identity, came from something deeper than human approval, the loss no longer defines you. People can come into your life and leave, but they don't have the authority to rewrite your purpose. You were not created to be completed by another person. You were designed to be whole, to live from a foundation of internal strength, not external validation. If you don't reclaim that, you will always tie your healing to the return or replacement of a person instead of the restoration of your purpose. Real healing is a process of reconstruction. It's when you stop asking, why did they hurt me? And start asking, what did this reveal about what I believed? Many people confuse pain with identity. Just because you feel broken doesn't mean you are broken at the core. What hurts you doesn't get to define you unless you allow it. The pain may be real, but your original design is still intact. And when you focus on rebuilding from that place, healing becomes more than recovery, it becomes rediscovery. You are not starting from scratch. You are returning to your foundation. You are going back to the version of you that wasn't shaped by fear, abandonment, or betrayal. That version still exists. It's just buried beneath disappointment, confusion, and unprocessed emotions. But it's waiting to rise. Healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering who you are, not who they said you were, not who you tried to become for them, but who you are always meant to be. So don't chase healing through reinvention, chase it through restoration. Your wholeness isn't found in becoming someone stronger, colder, or tougher. It's found in reconnecting with your true self, the one that heartbreak could not destroy, only distract you from. That's the self you must recover. That's where real healing begins. One of the most misunderstood truths about heartbreak is that forgiveness is not a gift you give to the other person. It's a release you give to yourself. When someone hurts you deeply, especially someone you trusted or loved, your natural response is to hold on to the pain. You replay what they said, how they changed, what they took from you, and you unknowingly allow the offense to live inside your mind rent-free. But here's the hard truth. You cannot heal while still carrying resentment. Bitterness may feel justified, but it is a chain that keeps you connected to the pain you're trying to escape. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about minimizing the betrayal, the disappointment, or the heartbreak. Forgiveness does not make them right. It makes you free. Because as long as you carry that anger, you remain emotionally and spiritually tied to the one who hurt you. And that invisible chain robs you of peace. It clouds your thoughts, weighs on your emotions, and influences how you trust and connect with others moving forward. Unforgiveness is a prison. And often, the only person it punishes is you. Healing can't happen in a heart that's still full of blame. When you choose to forgive, you're not letting them off the hook. You're letting yourself off the hook from carrying the emotional burden. You're deciding that their actions no longer have the power to control your joy, your peace, or your future. You're saying, I will not allow what you did to define how I live. That's what forgiveness truly is. Not weakness, but strength. It takes courage to release what broke you and still believe in your own healing. Sometimes we believe that holding on to the pain gives us control, that staying angry will protect us from being hurt again. But in reality, that anger just keeps the wound open. It doesn't protect, it poisons. Forgiveness closes the wound. It allows your heart to breathe again, to feel again, and to move forward unchained from what was done to you. And most importantly, forgiveness realigns your heart with truth. You are not what someone did to you. You are not the betrayal you endured. You are not the pain they caused. You are more than that. And forgiveness is how you reclaim that truth. You cannot change what they did, but you can choose how you respond to it. And that choice will either keep you in pain or lead you into peace. Forgiveness is that bridge. It's not a one-time feeling, it's a daily decision. But every time you choose it, you weaken the grip the past has on your present. And slowly you step back into your power. Not as a victim of heartbreak, but as a survivor of it. Whole, free, and healed. Most people think healing from heartbreak starts with what they should do. Read more books, distract yourself, meet new people, fill the silence. But true healing doesn't begin with doing, it begins with understanding. If you don't understand the root of your pain, every solution you chase will only serve as a temporary bandage. Healing that lasts comes from clarity, not just activity. And clarity comes when you take time to reflect on what actually broke, not just what ended. When a relationship or bond breaks, people often say they're heartbroken because someone left. But often the pain runs deeper than that. It's not just their absence that hurts. It's what their absence reveals. It exposes fears of being unworthy, feelings of abandonment, or wounds from past experiences that were never healed. Without understanding these layers, you end up focusing only on the person who left, rather than the parts of you that were already hurting before they came. Understanding also helps you stop blaming yourself for things that weren't your fault and take responsibility for the things that were. It allows you to see the situation with sober eyes instead of emotional fog. Did you ignore red flags? Did you sacrifice your values to be accepted? Did you expect someone to give you an identity they were never qualified to define? These questions aren't meant to shame you, but to free you. Because without reflection, you risk repeating the same pattern with a different face and calling it love. Many people rush to heal quickly because they're afraid of what they'll find if they sit with their pain. But pain is a messenger. It speaks. And if you listen, it will tell you where you lost yourself, where you need boundaries, where your worth has been placed in the hands of people who were never supposed to hold it. That's why understanding is not optional, it's essential. You cannot heal what you haven't taken time to understand. It's in this place of understanding that real transformation begins. When you recognize that the heartbreak wasn't just about someone leaving, but about what you believed you lost when they did, you can start to reclaim those pieces. Your peace, your worth, your sense of identity. You begin to see that healing is not about erasing the past. It's about learning from it with open eyes and an open heart. The truth is, healing isn't a race to move on. It's a return. A return to wisdom, to awareness, to the version of yourself that sees pain not as the end of your story, but as a chapter that taught you more about who you are and what you deserve. And that return begins not with more doing, but with deeper understanding. When you understand, you no longer just recover, you rise. Heartbreak often makes people feel like something was taken from them, their peace, their confidence, their sense of identity. But one of the most powerful truths about healing is this: no one can truly take your worth from you unless you hand it over. What often feels like a loss of value is actually a loss of perspective. You didn't become less valuable because someone walked away. You didn't become unworthy because they stopped loving you. Your worth was never supposed to be placed in the hands of another person. The mistake many people make is believing that they were valuable because they were chosen, because they were loved, because someone stayed. But true worth is not built on external approval. It's rooted in internal design. You were valuable before they noticed you. You were enough before they affirmed you. And you remain whole even after they leave. When you understand that, heartbreak no longer defines you, it refines you. It shows you the places where your identity was built on shaky ground, so you can rebuild on something unshakable. When someone rejects you, it's easy to take that rejection as truth. You start questioning your value, wondering what you lacked, what you could have done better, what you failed to give. But healing means recognizing that someone's inability to see your worth doesn't mean you don't have any. Sometimes people walk away not because you weren't enough, but because they were never equipped to handle someone like you. You outgrew the version of love they were capable of giving, and that's not a reflection of your inadequacy, it's evidence of your growth. One of the most liberating shifts in healing is this: you stop seeking validation from the one who hurt you and start reaffirming what's always been true about you, that you are still enough, still worthy, still called to something greater than their absence. And the more you anchor yourself in that truth, the less power their rejection has over you. Because when your value isn't dependent on being chosen, it can't be destroyed by being left. The process of healing is also the process of reclaiming. You begin to take back the pieces of your identity that you gave away in the name of love, approval, or fear. You begin to remember who you were before you tried to fit into a space that was too small for your worth. You stop performing to be seen and start becoming who you were always meant to be. You are not broken because they walked away. You are not less because the relationship ended. You are being recentered. You are being pulled back to the truth of your design, that you have always had worth, not because of what someone did for you, but because of who you were created to be. That truth doesn't change with seasons or circumstances. And the moment you fully embrace it, healing becomes more than just possible, it becomes inevitable. Healing from heartbreak is not just about getting over a person. It's about confronting the inner void that heartbreak exposed. When someone leaves, they often leave behind more than just memories. They leave a silence that echoes with questions. Why wasn't I enough? What could I have done differently? Will I ever feel whole again? But these questions are not just about the person who left. They are about the hidden places within you that longed for something deeper, something secure, something lasting. And until that inner void is addressed, you will keep trying to fill it with people, distractions, and temporary comfort, never realizing that healing doesn't come from outside in, but from inside out. There's a hunger in the human soul for meaning, belonging, and unconditional acceptance. Many times, relationships become our attempt to fill that hunger. We hope that someone else will see in us what we struggle to see in ourselves. But when the relationship fails or ends, that fragile sense of value collapses, and we're left not only with heartbreak, but with identity confusion. This is why true healing is spiritual. It's not just about learning lessons or getting stronger emotionally. It's about reconnecting with a deeper truth of who you are and why you exist. A truth that no human being can define or diminish. You cannot fully heal until you understand that no human love, no matter how genuine, can replace the foundational love your soul truly craves. That kind of love doesn't fluctuate with feelings. It doesn't change its mind. It doesn't abandon you when things get hard. And until you encounter and embrace that kind of love, the kind that affirms your worth without needing you to earn it, you will always be vulnerable to people who only love you when it's easy. The deepest healing comes when you stop seeking people to complete you and start anchoring yourself in the love that never fails. This is where healing begins to transform you, when you realize that you were not created to be validated by broken people, but to live from a place of wholeness already given to you, when you stop chasing worth and start embodying it, when you shift your focus from who left to the one who never will. The void in your heart isn't a sign that you're incomplete. It's a reminder that you were designed for something greater than human approval. And once you begin to fill that space with divine purpose and truth, the power of heartbreak begins to fade. The heartbreak may have exposed your emptiness, but it also opened a door to deeper understanding. A door that invites you to stop looking outward for healing and start looking inward and upward. Because the healing that lasts, the kind that doesn't leave scars that still bleed, comes not from replacing what was lost, but from discovering what was always within you. A love, a value, a purpose that heartbreak could never take away. Time doesn't heal all wounds. It only gives you the space to decide what to do with your pain. Healing is not automatic. You can carry the same heartbreak for years and never truly move forward. Not because you lack time, but because you've refused to take the steps that actually lead to restoration. Waiting for healing to happen is like waiting for a broken bone to fix itself without treatment. If you don't intentionally walk the path of healing, time will only make the pain more familiar, not less powerful. That's why healing is a decision. It's a choice to confront the hurt, not hide it. A choice to stop reliving the memories and start rewriting the meaning behind them. It's a decision to no longer let the past define how you love, how you trust, or how you see yourself. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means facing what happened with a new level of maturity, honesty, and grace. And that process is not passive. You have to choose it again and again, every time the pain tries to pull you backward. The danger of delaying healing is that unhealed wounds don't stay still. They spread. They leak into your friendships, your confidence, your dreams. You start building walls instead of setting boundaries. You stop expecting good things because you're still holding on to what went wrong. You become emotionally guarded, spiritually numb, relationally distant. You say you're protecting yourself, but what you're really doing is imprisoning yourself in a story that was meant to end. But when you choose to heal, truly choose, something shifts. You stop waiting for closure from the one who hurt you. You stop needing their apology to move on. You stop rehearsing the pain and start renewing your mind. You begin to focus on what you're becoming, not what you've been through. And you realize that healing isn't just about getting better. It's about getting back to the original version of you that wasn't shaped by pain, betrayal, or fear. It's about recovery, not just relief. There is power in deciding that the pain will no longer be your identity. There is freedom in taking ownership of your future, even when you didn't choose your past. No one else can do this part for you. No one else can feel your emotions, challenge your thoughts, or rebuild your heart. Healing is personal, and the moment you stop postponing it, the moment you say, "I'm not carrying this hurt another day," is the moment your life begins to move forward. Time can't heal you, but truth can, and the truth is, you are not stuck unless you choose to be. The same pain that once made you feel powerless can now become the fire that strengthens your purpose. Choose to heal. Don't wait, because the longer you delay the freedom, peace, and wholeness that have been waiting for you all along. You don't need someone to come and fix what they didn't build. You don't need another temporary distraction. What you need is restoration from the inside out. And that kind of healing starts today, not when someone returns, but when you do.